I don't want you to lose sleep over it. All right, page 56. Maybe I'll just quickly review what is percentile rank. Okay, I'm going to make an adjustment actually here. The province is a little vague on this. You know how, sorry, I'm going to get you to go back to 53 for a bit. And 53, where you see this infograph there. Percentile told you is 80th, and percentile rank is 80%. We're just going to say it's get rid of the percent because we don't want percentages. I checked with the province, and both of them are just stated the same way. So percentile rank or percentile 80th, that's it. However, listen carefully. If it says what does it mean, what does this answer tell us? In this particular case, because we're talking about heights, it means that 80% of the people in this sample, right, will be shorter, right? Will be shorter. That's what this tells us. If it's test, right? If it's your test score compared to the rest, and your test score puts you on the 80th percentile, it means that 80% of students scored less than you. So it's always like telling you how you compare to the rest. But remember, it doesn't tell you how well you did on the actual test. You could be in the 80th percentile and have failed the test. It just means that there was a hard test for almost everybody in that group, right? So keep that in mind. Hold on. 56, back to 56 as I was promising. So there's a difference between percentile rank and your test score. There is a difference. So let's go to 56 here real quick. Thomas scored 29.5 out of 40 on the test. I don't know, you may have done this already, right? That's the actual score. He knows that out of his class of 35 students, he scored higher, right? He scored higher than 18 students. So that is effectively telling us that 18 students are below his score, correct? Okay. So first, A, state Thomas's score on his test as a percentage. So this is not percentile rank, okay, guys? This is, I could have said calculate someone's down payment as a percentage. Remember that in home finance? Same thing. So we're going to go 29.5 out of 40 times 100. That's how you find his actual test score. And I'm going to need a calculator. 30 out of 40 is 75%, right? So this is going to be just under that. 73.75, right? Actual, right? Test score. We used this, right, to come up with a test score. So I'm gonna just do this here. Okay. Next, what percentile does Thomas's test place him compared to the rest of the class? As soon as you see the word percentile, right, you know you're gonna have to calculate the percentile rank. It's the same thing. So you go B over N times 100. That's the formula. So percentile, we know that there are 18 students. He scored higher than 18, so that means 18 are below, right? Out of 35 times 100. So we go ahead and do that. 18 divided by 35 times 100, 51.42. And how are you going to answer this? You're not going to put percent, and you have to do a whole number. So you either choose to 51st or 52nd. Right, I'll say or. Either one of these is acceptable. And no percentages, okay? So make sure you don't do this on a test though. If you do this, circle the one you want to answer, right? Because we just want one answer. Okay? So what does this mean? We can now, using this information, we can say that 51% of students scored lower than 29.5 out of 40 on the test. We can be a bit more specific now. That's one way of doing it, but you could have also said 51% of students scored lower than Thomas, right? If we hadn't known the score, we could have just said lower than Thomas. Right? So it depends on how much information you have. And to be honest, if you are giving me an indication that you understand what's happening here, you're going to be just fine. Okay. Anybody do the next one here? Anybody get to this one? This is also a classic percentile rank here. Used information about a class of chemistry test results. Determine the percentile rank for the students who achieved 72. So this is the number we're considering. Is this arranged? Yeah, it's going up, right? So 72, like this is everything 72 and up, we're not considering. So we're essentially, I don't know if I highlighted that on the key. We're essentially saying, hey, these are the scores. This is B, right? B is equal to, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4 times 4 is 16 plus 2 is 18. 18 student test scores below. Below 72. So don't count the score itself, right? So now we're going to go PR. It's 18 over, how many are there in total? 32? Okay. Just going to go with it. 18 divided by 32 times 100, 56.25. But you won't say that, right? So you can just say arrow out. You can just say 57th. I usually go up. I always go up because you're ranked. So if you say 56, you're basically saying you're technically a little higher than the 56th. So you should be one up. So, but the province accepts both as so long as you don't have decimals and you don't have percentages. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for review. Everything up to page 58 is on the key online, so you just go check that. I'm going to introduce one extra maybe level of difficulty, which is on page 61. I call it backwards, right? You know, I hope you understand when it says backwards, that is key. That's a key word for having to do some algebra or like undoing, doing backwards, or what do you call it? Opposite operations to get to what's missing. Okay. So we start with our formula and then we kind of use inverse operations. Okay. So let's do this one here. I have a feeling that you could probably even do this without me doing the lesson, but I will just show you so you have it in your notes, okay? St. Boniface is weighing, I'm just going to highlight the title so that you can tell we covered it. St. Boniface is weighing all babies born at the hospital. Daniel is 7 weeks old. This is on page 61. And his weight placed him in the 70th percentile, right? So I don't know about you, but this is like, you know, when they give you the mean, remember they gave you the mean, you have to find the other, like the value necessary to have that mean. You're given the percentile rank. PR is given. Okay. So 200 out of 200 babies, how many would weigh less than Daniel? Yeah, you got it. But I'm going to show you how I do this. Use the formula. B over N times 100, correct? That's the formula. This 70, just go arrow. We're going to say the 70 goes in here. Okay. So that's 70 is equal to We know that there's 200 babies in total, correct? Times 100. So we don't know what B is. Don't know what B is. And this is how I will show inverse operations. Notice that in this case, there's no adding or subtracting at all, right? There's just dividing, multiplying around the variable. I'm going to get rid of that first. So I'm going to say, I'm going to divide both sides by 100. That gets rid of that. I used a different color to show what I added, right? So 70 divided by 100 is 0.7. B over 200. Do you remember the trick I used for this? 200 times, yeah, 200 times 0.7, you cross multiply. I don't know, I think I did this before with you. I put a 1 here sometimes, just so you see it's a proportion, right? So you cross multiply like that, and you divide by 1, which is really not necessary here. So it's 200 times 0.7 divided by 1. You want me to have that here, the arrow? I'm going to go cross, then divide. So multiply, then divide. So that's 140 you were saying, right? Yes. I just did that in my head. Yeah. Just make sure you also make sure you know how to show how to do it, okay? Fun stuff, eh? Make sure you write this down at least so when you review it, you know what's happening. Next, this should technically be a separate question, by the way. Emily's weight, puts her in the 55th percentile. I'll highlight that too. If 45 babies weigh less than Emily, 45 babies weigh less than Emily, what letter would this get in terms of our equation? Babies that weigh less is really our B variable, correct? Check. How many babies were there? Okay, so what's this part of our formula? This is N, and this is PR. Okay, so this is given, B is given, N is question mark, correct? There are only 3 things really in this formula. So I'm going to start like this again. PR is B over N times 100. PR is 55, right? Now B is 45. N is unknown times 100. A little trickier, but not by much. First thing is I'm dividing by 100. Cancel that out. And you get 55 divided by 100 is 0.55, yeah. And then it's 45 over N. What about there? How do you solve that one? You divide it. And the reason being is, that's why I tell you put the 1 down here. Because remember, you cross multiply. So the 45 multiplies the 1, which is still 45, and then divides by what's left over. That's how it goes every time. So 45 times 1 divided by 0.55, and that's could be a decimal, right? Yeah, not to fear. Oh my goodness. Don't fear it. It's all good. 81.81, and that keeps going. So we're going to say approximately 82 babies considered, right? I want to pick your brain a little bit. Can you try? This is not a backwards scenario. This is just a trickier. I'm asking you to calculate the percentile rank, right? So PR is unknown here. Would you be able to calculate the percentile rank based on what I give you, the information I give you? Try it, please. Try, like, just see if you could figure it out. I'm just telling you this. B is not given to you explicitly. You have to do a little bit of calculating to find out B. Go over this real quick. I have never seen this on an exam, but you never know. Okay. So the tricky part is find B, right? And the way I do it is there's 250 total, right? I'm going to subtract the ones that weigh the same as Leanne. So there are 5 babies that are the same. I'm going to subtract the 60 that weigh more than Leanne. And this is almost right, except for one thing is missing. Yes, Nick?
I mentioned I redid it, and the answer came out to be rounded the same.
I know. Leanne herself needs to be subtracted as well. Right? Leanne has like that weight is there too. I know you're like, oh my goodness, seriously. So if you missed that part, you feel proud, like you did pretty good. So close. As Nick says, rounded, your answer is probably the same because it's such a big number of babies. But if I just had 20, maybe they'd be. So 184, way less. And I'm just gonna make sure you understand that this is Leanne. You know when they say, I just feel like I'm a number? Well, in this case, Leanne is 1. All right, so PR is 184 over 250 times 100. I got 73.6, which is 74th or 73rd. 4, right? So I'm going to circle that one to say, hey, that's my final answer here. All right. Before I close this lesson here, I just want to give you a few, like if you're interested in reviewing more, 61, like this whole percentile rank section, if you want some more practice. If you want more practice, this goes all the way to 65, right? Oops. So I'm going to write that down at the when we go to 61. I'm going to say there at the bottom of 61. Is that my pencil that I just dropped? Oh yeah, I did. Page 61 to 65. It's like more percentile rank. So if you need more practice, that's when you're going to find it. So there are some tables, for example. I'm just going to show you so you know what I'm talking about. If you go to 63, notice that there's the shoe size or glove size and how many are sold. Maybe I'll just do this one here. Donette bought herself size 7.5 gloves. What is the percentile rank of her hand size? How in the world would you do that? Let's try this. 63. 7.5 is right here, correct? So it's these numbers right here that are gonna be the pairs that are below hers, right? So I'll go 10 plus 25 here. That's B over, what's the total number here? You might have to help me. This is, oh, you got it, 153, thank you. 153 is the total, right? Number of pairs sold, 153, there you go. And so that's the number that goes down here. So it shouldn't scare you, right? Like whatever I give you percentile rank, I would say, remember the definition of percentile rank. What is it? Oh, I need to figure out how many are lower than whatever they're giving me. Income, height, temperature, it doesn't matter. How many are lower? So this is 35 over 153 times 100. What is it? 22.8? Okay. So we're going to say 23rd percentile. So you could say that she's on the smaller hand size, right? Because there are not that many people that have smaller than hers. If you were higher up here, and this would be a greater number, so let's say you're in the 95th percentile, you can probably conclude that your hand size is pretty big compared to the people that are there, of course. So if there's a bunch of kindergarten kids, right, compared to the kindergarten kids, like this would tell you how big your hand size is compared to everybody else. All right. I think we're good. So I'm going to give you an AC real quick here. Page 67 all the way to the end is just various reviews. So I'm going to say 68 to 80, 67 to 87. I'm going to put that on the front of your booklet. Front of your booklet. Review. Page 67 to 87. Plus old quiz. That's what I'm going to give you if you want more. I'm going to have to find the keys to 67, 87. I don't know if it's one file or if it's a bunch of smaller files, but I would write this on the front of my booklet just in case. And basically, if you flip through my booklet, you will have a pretty good idea what to expect on the test. MCTs, what is that again, Mr. Jackson? Mean, median, mode. How to find the median when it's even, how to find the median when it's odd. I'll tell you that there's some bigger chunks of data, like in the 20s and the 30s. So you got to be able to find the mean, median, mode of that. Trimmed mean, what is a trimmed mean again? It's when you remove the same number of values from either end, and it omits the outlier, okay? Can I say this? Trimmed mean gives you a different answer than the arithmetic mean, the regular mean, okay? But the weighted mean, do you remember the weighted mean? The weighted mean and the arithmetic mean is the exact same answer. You're going to get the same answer, okay? If they're a repetition, if it comes to repetition. So you got to look for that. What else can I say? Percentile rank. Backwards, like we did backwards without a weighted mean scenario. So let's say 23, 24, right? There was no weighted mean in this scenario, so it's just 2 steps to undo it. You divide, sorry, in this case you multiply, sorry. You multiply both sides by whatever's in the denominator, and then you subtract to get your final. When it's weighted mean, there's one extra step of division. Where's that? Don't know if I have it right now off the top. Oh yeah, 43. Notice there's 3 steps, right? One in the subtracting, and then one last step was division to find like the test score you need to get that average you require. So that and weighted mean, remember the 3 steps for weighted mean. You multiply, you add, and then you divide. And you got to do your unit analysis there. Okay. I will stop this here.